Imagine waking up tomorrow morning to discover that every bee on Earth had vanished. No buzzing in the garden, no bees visiting flowers, no honeybees leaving their hives, every single one gone. Would we even notice? The answer is yes, and much sooner than you might think. Bees are some of the hardest working creatures on our planet. Although they are small, they play an enormous role in keeping our natural world healthy and productive. In fact, without them, many of the foods we enjoy every day would become much harder and much more expensive to produce. But would humanity actually survive if bees disappeared? Let's find out. There are more than 20,000 known species of bee living across almost every continent on Earth. Surprisingly, only a small number of these species make honey. Most bees are solitary insects that quietly go about one of the most important jobs in nature: pollination. As bees search flowers for nectar and pollen, tiny grains of pollen stick to their bodies. When they visit another flower, some of that pollen is transferred, allowing the plant to produce seeds and fruit. It's a simple process, but it keeps entire ecosystems alive. Now imagine that process suddenly stopped. The first signs wouldn't appear overnight. Supermarket shelves wouldn't instantly become empty. Farmers would still have many crops to harvest already growing in their fields. But over the following months and years, the effects would begin to spread. Many of our favourite foods depend heavily on bees. Apples, strawberries, blueberries, cherries, almonds, cucumbers, pumpkins, and many other fruits and vegetables all benefit from bee pollination. Some crops can still produce small harvests without bees, but yields would often be much lower and the quality of the fruit could decline. As supplies fell, prices would almost certainly rise. Foods that are common today could become luxury items in some parts of the world. Fortunately, not every crop depends on bees. Staple foods such as wheat, rice, maize, oats and potatoes are pollinated by wind or reproduce in other ways. These crops provide a large proportion of the world's calories, so humanity would not suddenly starve. However, our diets would become far less varied. Fresh fruit and vegetables would become scarcer. Nuts would be harder to grow. Many livestock also rely on plants such as clover and alfalfa for feed, and these plants benefit from pollination too. That means meat and dairy production could also become more difficult and more expensive. The disappearance of bees would affect far more than just our dinner plates. Wildflowers would begin to struggle. Many flowering plants rely on bees to reproduce successfully. And as these plants declined, insects that feed on them would also decline. Birds that eat those insects could lose an important food source, and small mammals and larger animals would be affected as habitats gradually changed. Nature is like a giant web. Remove one important strand and many others begin to weaken. Could other animals replace bees? To some extent, yes. Butterflies, moths, hoverflies, beetles, wasps, birds, and even bats all help pollinate certain plants. They would continue doing their work, and some species might become more important over time. But bees are exceptionally efficient pollinators. Their fuzzy bodies collect large amounts of pollen, and many species have evolved alongside particular flowers over millions of years. Replacing that partnership would be increasingly difficult. Scientists have experimented with hand pollination and tiny robotic pollinators. Hand pollination is already used in some places for high-value crops, but it is extremely time-consuming and expensive. Imagine trying to pollinate millions upon millions of flowers by hand every single growing season. Robotic pollinators sound like science fiction, but researchers are exploring the idea. Even so, no technology currently comes close to matching the speed, efficiency and sheer numbers of healthy bee populations working together every day. So would humans survive? The honest answer is yes, but life would become much more challenging. Our food would be less diverse, many crops would become more expensive, wildlife would suffer, and ecosystems across the globe would change in ways that scientists are still trying to understand. The good news is that it isn't a hopeless story. Around the world, people are finding ways to help bee pollinations recover. Planting wildflowers provides bees with food throughout the growing season. Leaving small patches of gardens a little wilder creates valuable habitat. Reducing unnecessary pesticide use and protecting natural landscapes can also make a real difference. Even a single window box filled with bee-friendly flowers can become an important feeding station. The future of bees isn't decided by one person. It's shaped by millions of small actions taken by people, communities, and farmers working together. So next time you hear the gentle buzz of a bee drifting through your garden, remember that you're listening to one of nature's greatest success stories. These tiny insects help feed billions of people, support countless species of wildlife, and keep our world blooming with colour. Perhaps the real question isn't whether we could survive without bees, it's whether we can afford to lose such an extraordinary partner in the first place. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again as we continue exploring the incredible wonders of our natural world. Thank you for watching, and until next time, bye for now.